Hi, this is Tasha with Emerge Sales Training, and today I'm going to share with you 4 reasons that you aren't reaching your goals. Parentheses, even though you know all the stuff. So this has been a challenge that a lot of our students have been running into recently. So they'll go through all the training stuff, right? The sell stuff, teach people how to sell stuff, recruit people, right? And while they're in their courses, they're doing great, right? And then after, they have a hard time keeping the momentum up. And so we've been chatting with a lot of people, and I really want to talk about these 4 reasons and then what you can do to start to change that situation. So there's a great quote by Courtney Stevens. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So we may need to make some changes, my friends. Let's go over these 4 reasons. So number 1 is you don't have the actual skills. And so in network marketing, you need to be able to make sales, help others make sales, and develop leaders. You need to be able to communicate and influence effectively. And when I think about what is that thing, right, when you're communicating with people, and I think it all comes down, right, setting appointments and helping people to buy and helping people to move forward in the business and training and coaching and all those things comes down to this really core skill, which is gaining agreements. And I don't think we come out of the womb this way. I don't think your babies or toddlers or young children come out and are like, let's find a mutually agreed upon thing that works for both of us. Let's find a win-win, Mom. They don't do that. And so we don't come this way. And so we have to learn how to influence and gain agreement. So number 1 reason is you don't have the communication skills. Number 2 reason is you want to be able to do all the things at once. And so when you want to do all the things at once, you might have 100 ideas out there. And so there's kind of 2 different ways you can go. You can say, oh my gosh, there's 100 ideas, 100 things I could do. And so then you do nothing, analysis paralysis. Or you do all of them at the same time and you're only able to do a fraction. And so nothing ever gets finished and you don't ever get traction. You get frustrated, burned out because nothing actually moves. I think that this comes from just fear of missing out. I think that while brainstorming is really, really a great business practice, I believe there to be a time and a place for new ideas. And it's not when you're in execution mode or in action mode. It's in a planning space. And I think right now, business people, myself included, are getting just bombarded with all of these messages about this is the next thing that's going to solve everything in your business. And, I just saw, we've been playing with Instagram a little bit, and I saw an ad from a really good marketer with a great reputation on Instagram. I was so tempted to grab it because it was something that I've been thinking about and I need to learn about it and I have a propensity to learn. And it took a lot of discipline for me to just know. I'm going to focus on what I need to focus on. And so we want to do all the things at once, which means we make no traction because either we do nothing or we do a little bit of all the things and we're not able to make any progress. The 3rd reason that you might not be reaching your goals is your thoughts are messed up. And maybe your thoughts are messed up because of reasons 1 and 2, because of skill set or because you have too many things running through your mind. I know sometimes when I get overwhelmed or I'm doing something I don't know how to do, I go into imposter syndrome. I get really frustrated. I become afraid of failure. And those thoughts don't help me move into action because our thoughts impact our beliefs, which impacts our action. And so the main reason we don't reach the goal is number 4. And that's just not enough repetitions. Now, the reason we may not be having enough repetitions is maybe because our thoughts, right? We're creating some confirmation bias here. We think a thought, we do something kind of halfway, it reinforces that, and we get caught in this loop. We try to do all the things at once, which means we don't have enough repetitions on any one thing to really know if it works or know if it doesn't work, or we may not have the skills to be able to get the repetitions necessary. And so when I think about this concept of momentum, it's really, really hard to get something started. Once you get something started and you start to get to momentum, it's not so difficult. I was reading the book, The Good to Great. They were talking about the flywheel. And I didn't really know what a flywheel is. And when I did some research, I thought more about the Wheel of Fortune wheel. And I always kind of smile when someone does the Wheel of Fortune wheel, because they're like they have to grab it and they go all the way back like this. And then with all their might, and they kind of jump a little bit, right? Like it's a big, big thing. And takes so much effort to get that wheel spinning, but then after a while, like never ever stops. And I would love to think that momentum doesn't stop, but when we're starting something, we're creating something, we're building something, we have to work really, really, really hard until we start capturing some momentum. I think back to when I started Emerge Sales Training. Before, I think maybe I did have one single client. I'm thinking about how much outreach should I do? How many people did I ask for referrals? I think about how many complimentary coaching calls did I make to get just a little bit of traction. And within like 4 months, I was buried. Now, I don't think that time frame is always realistic. I think there are other things that are involved in that, and that's not my point. But my point is, it's a lot of hard work to get something started, and you have to put in a lot of reps to create that momentum. And so that's just a quick summary of what I think are the 4 reasons you aren't reaching your goals. So number 1, let me recap. You don't have the actual skills. Number 2, you want to do all the things at once. Number 3, your thoughts are messed up. And number 4, not enough repetition. Not enough times, right? Like if it's sales conversations, you don't have enough of them to really create momentum, or enough recruiting conversations, or enough coaching calls, or whatnot. So how do we overcome this? I'm not going to leave you hanging. Not totally hanging. So how do you overcome this? You decide. And so I'm going to ask you kind of a mean question. And I don't mean any disrespect here. I think you'll understand this question. Do you want to be a network marketer, or do you want to be a CEO? And here's what I mean by that. Do you want to build a business in which you sit and wait for your upline or someone just to say, here's what you need to do, here's your cookie cutter approach? Or do you want to run your own business? And many network marketers are seeking this 6-figure income, maybe $500,000, right? This financial freedom. And I think that's awesome. And I've had the honor of working with clients who have achieved those levels. And you can do that. But there requires a big shift. And as a sales trainer and leadership development person, coach, there's this other thing that needs to happen, is that you have to decide. In my journey, moving from a sales coach to a CEO, I had to actually look up the job description of what does a CEO do. And the top thing that showed up was decide. We have to decide. We have to decide what are our priorities for the next few months. We have to decide what we're working on. A successful CEO can't do all of the things or have their team focus on all of the things at once. The company won't do well. And in network marketing, what you're doing is you're building a company from scratch without the startup costs or having to figure out the product. That is awesome. You're already ahead of the game. It doesn't change, though, the fact that you are a CEO for your own company. And what that requires is for you to make some decisions. And so you have to decide, on your priorities. You have to decide what you're going to be focused on. You're going to have to reflect, look back, and say, okay, this worked and this didn't work, and now let me make a new plan moving forward. And that is something that is really, really important. And when you can get good, I'm going to take that back. I'm not even saying you have to be good at making decisions. I think you just have to be committed to making decisions, because indecision is a decision in and of itself. And so if we make a decision, say, these are the things I'm going to focus on, in a few months, if they were the wrong focus, you can course correct. And so here's the way I think about it is like GPS. So if I'm sitting in my garage and I map myself to wherever, Disneyland, and I stay in the garage and I don't leave, I'm actually not getting closer to Disneyland. Now, let's say I pull out of my garage and I actually go the wrong way on the street, away from the freeway. My GPS will course correct me and I can get back. But the only way I can actually get to my destination is to move, is to go somewhere. Even if it's the wrong direction, I can course correct and still get to my destination eventually. But if I keep my car parked in the garage, I will never actually get to Disneyland. And so this is why I think it's so important to decide on your top priorities for a certain time frame and then commit to them for that time frame. And so instead of going into a bunch of details on this video or on this podcast, I'm actually going to do a special one-time training on this that's free, because I hate that people are learning the stuff and not reaching their goals. So what I'm going to do is do a training on focused. So where you can register is immersesalstraining.com/focus. Now, if you are catching this on the day that it's going live, the live training is going to be on August 22nd, 2018 at 9:30 a.m. Pacific, and it'll be an hour. It'll be shorter because we need to focus, right, friends? So it'll be shorter than my normal trainings, and you can register at emergesalstraining.com/focus. And what we're going to do is we're going to address these issues, and I'm going to just show you some simple ways to go ahead and prioritize, work on stuff, and then plan or reflect and plan again. So I'm going to show you what I personally use to keep focused. I have a lot of different hats that I wear at Emerge. I get to be the CEO. I have direct reports. I have private coaching clients. I have group coaching clients. I do the marketing and I run webinars and I take care of the accounting, and we could probably go on. And that can be really, really overwhelming. So I'm going to show you what I use to keep myself focused, what we've started using with some of our private clients to help keep them focused, and the results are amazing. It's been super helpful. And, we'll talk about how you can hold yourself accountable, which is right, follow through and such. So I hope you'll join us live August 22nd, 2018, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. You can register at emergesalstraining.com/focus. If you are catching this podcast or video later, then just go to that same site and you'll be able to have the replay emailed over to you. So I hope that helps. I hope this podcast or video, whichever version you are consuming it on, was helpful for you. And, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think and if this was helpful for you. And hopefully we'll see you at the free training. Have a great day.